Hey listeners, welcome back to the Making Data Simple podcast. Our episode last week featured Janine Sneed. Janine is the Chief Digital Officer and VP of Customer Success for Hybrid Cloud. That's a mouthful. Last week, Janine talked about her own background and work life at IBM, which was fantastic. But we wanted to share more of that conversation because later on she offered some career advice and described her involvement with the very important GROW initiative, GROW. See what that means? Take a listen.
You're listening to Making Data Simple, where we make the world of data effortless, relevant, and yes, even fun.
You know, coming back to the naming, the interesting thing about the naming is you have your challenges because you're right. Everything is being bundled under digital, and there's a lot of definitions of client success as well. You know, leading support within data and AI as well as development. You know, at one point in time, I looked at support and I said, you know, it doesn't describe what we should be doing. In other words, post-sale support is legacy. I mean, it's all the experiences from try and buy onward. So I changed the name to like client experience. Then I said, well, that's not complete either. Then I went to client success, but then client success is really, you know, what you're talking about on the SaaS side of the business with client success managers. So I don't know. I think I'm almost back to supporting it. I don't know. I wonder if that's indicative of everything is so integrated right now.
It is, Al. It's truly integrated. It's funny because I won't mention the name of the companies that I spoke with, but I was doing a lot of research on customer success, having just discussions and learning. It was a lot of learning, and there are many organizations that have customer success support and lab services in one organization, and they actually call that customer success. So it's funny you mention that because it's all post-sale, right? It's okay that it's landed. What's lab services going to do? What's support going to do? What are the customer success managers going to do to get the customer running and make them successful? Now, Al, I'll tell you what, you're giving me a run for my money because I've seen your support scores and they're through the roof. So I've got some work to do, Al.
Yeah, that's all right. Look, we never stop. I just had a team yesterday, and I talked about the need to be customer obsessed, to really having a customer obsessed culture. And I think it's important to continue to push that because one way or another, your business is obsessed about something. It could be profit, it could be product. I would say many of the best businesses are customer obsessed, and that's the way we want to be. And I think it's also important, and I think this kind of lines, and I know you preach this preach this as well, is not just understanding what clients want, but what their needs are. And those are very different, and you've got to listen to clients. I mean, what Henry Ford famously said, if I would have gave customers what they wanted, I would have given them faster horses. So, you know, we got to turn and pivot to give them what they need. So speaking of customers, you say you've been talking to a lot of customers and you work this through a lot of external clients. Are there, you don't have to mention any names, but are there clients that have this figured out? And I guess the second part of that question is if they don't have it figured out, you know, what is the blueprint or what are the first couple steps you suggest to get them on that path?
So when we talk about getting it figured out, let's go back to AI, right? And the whole notion of, you know, making data accessible and the journey to AI. I see so many customers looking at AI and saying, I want that. But they're not there. And they're not there because I think it comes back to the foundation. Look, this is a blanket statement. This is not every customer. But a lot of customers that I work with are still in that phase of how do I get a trusted, governed data framework, unified governance framework that we can access data regardless of where it is. It's multiple data sources, data types, open source, proprietary, cloud, on-prem. I mean, it's all types of data. And then, you know, being able to trust that. So how do they organize it? I was with a customer last Friday, actually, and the big thing was a master copy. They said, I don't want to have 220 of my business because that was how many kind of lines they had. We want to have one. We want one master, so they're on. A lot of customers are there. And once they get there and really get the access and the unified governance down and trust their data, then you can really start talking about how you can build AI into your business. So that's Janine's perspective. However, I also know that there are innovators and they're disruptors. I mean, so many of them spoke at our Think conference where they're hiring data scientists, they're bringing them in-house, and they're working on projects. They're building machine learning models and prediction models, affinity models, churn. They're there. So I think it's, I'm seeing both sides of it, but if they don't have that trusted data in place, then I think that the AI is going to fall apart. I don't think you can be as successful without it.
I totally agree. In fact, we've broached this topic several times on the podcast, and it goes back to our saying that you can't have AI without IA, and I think that holds true. Like I said, I'm not trying to be a homer here, but I think our strategy is the best that I've seen it, and I'm pretty excited about it. And look, I do think no matter where folks are, I mean, the cool thing is data and AI is like the central nervous system. It's a great place to be right now.
I agree.
It's great. Hey, look, I've got some other questions more on the topic of Janine. So anything else that we didn't hit on in the digital experience or the customer success?
No, I think that's it.
I think we killed it.
Yeah.
We killed it. Always. Hey, so you got a master's degree in management information systems in Carnegie Mellon, right?
Yeah, I did.
So, wow, that's impressive. So and even this is more impressive, and this is where I'm going. I know you're involved with all kinds of women in technology facets, and even within IBM, we have a Slack channel that is around women in tech, and yes, it's inclusive of the inferior part of the species. That's me, men, and I'm on that Slack channel. And you are always all over that, and I know that, I'll just keep going here. I know you founded a group called GROW. I don't know if it's a group but anyway, it stands for Guidance, Resources, and Outreach for Women. You've done a lot for women in technology, and I wanted to talk about your inspiration there, what you're thinking, and give you kind of a platform to talk to it, because you're coming from a guy that has 4 women at home. That's not even counting the 2 dogs that are girls. So I get it. I don't make any decisions at home, I promise you.
There we go. Well, first off, thanks for asking. And it is International Women's Day. It is March 8th when we're doing this. So I want to wish Happy International Women's Day to all of you women that are out there. And let me take you back to April of 2018. I get all of my ideas on my runs. I do long runs on the weekend, and I was listening to Deb Bubb, Jesus Mantis, and Rashida Hodge, Phil Gilbert. They were at our Think conference, and they did a session called I Believe, I Belong, I Matter. And it was a replay, of course, on demand on my run. And I thought, this is so empowering. I've been at IBM at that time, of course, 17 years, and I said, what can I be doing to give back? I want every woman. I've faced many, many challenges in my career. And I feel like I'm outspoken, but I sometimes felt like I haven't been me. I can't be me. I'm too passionate, I'm too emotional, or I'm not smart enough, or, do I feel stupid saying this? I just sometimes had confidence issues. And I thought, what can I do to help our women in cloud and cognitive software feel like there's a support system? There are resources for them to grow their career. Whether they're new coming into IBM or maybe they want to change, they want to change. They want a career change. So in May, I blew off a couple meetings, and I sat down and I wrote out what I believe GROW would be. And GROW stands for Guidance, Resources, and Outreach for Women in Cloud and Cognitive Software. And it is a grassroots initiative versus an HR-driven program where we run monthly live streams on all kinds of topics, executive presence, digital leadership, bold decisions, leveraging your network to grow your career. We just did one this week on gender equality. We have one coming up in 2 weeks on salary. And it's a community for all of our women in cloud and cognitive software to have a platform for their voice, for things they want to know about, things they want to learn, get mentoring, get sponsoring, get network. And we're now at about 1,300 as of today, strong.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic.
We're excited about it. And when I say that, that's the group that's in Slack. We, of course, have many more thousand women within cloud and cognitive software, but that's the active number of active users in our Slack channel.
Well, I can tell you I'm actively following the channel because I see a lot of inspirational things that I take away from it. It's fantastic. Yeah. You've done a great job there. You must have a ton of proteges. You know?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You must be mentoring a lot.
I do.
Great.
I do mentor a lot. And, it's funny because I mentor both women and men. And I don't know, I feel like honored when men come and say, hey, I want some advice, because I feel like it's always been bro to bro, And so I do mentor, and even if it's like a quick chat, hey, I need advice on something, it's really hard for me to turn those things down. And I had a discussion with my boss last week about this and how much time is too much time, but I always feel like, there's that one, lady or one guy that may just need someone to talk to for, about something. And so I really try to make myself available as much as I can.
Well, that's a gift that keeps on giving. By the way, you can mentor me any day of the week. I'm all over that. Thank you so much. Hey, in fact, I'm getting a lot here. So, for those listening, is there any location where they can see what you're doing, what's going on? And I don't know if you have I'm certainly maybe LinkedIn. I don't know, Twitter.
Yeah, please do. I mean, we have a LinkedIn page, of course, and Janine Sneed, and I actually just posted a blurb up there about our live stream that took place March 4th with all of our senior executives in cloud and cognitive software. We had a senior executive panel on gender equality. It was really important. We had a couple thousand IBM Cloud and Cognitive Software employees log in and watch the live stream, and we had 29 live stream parties happening during that live stream session as well as throughout March. So it's a pretty big deal, and IBM takes gender equality and diversity inclusion very seriously. In 1934 was when we hired our first group of women that would do basically high-tech work, the same work as men. And then in 1935, our founder said, we are going to pay women the same as men for equal work. So we're not new to this. It's always in our values, and I think that every generation of IBMers since then has said, what can we do to ensure that gender diversity and equality and inclusion is first and foremost in everything we do. It's who we are in our DNA as a company. And that just makes me so proud.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I got a serious question. Do you sleep? That's what I want to know.
I do sleep. I do. And I've got 2 kids, and so they make me tired as well. I've got an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old boy. So while I do a lot of this women's stuff, I do have my little guys at home, and my husband, of course, who's a big kid himself.
Yeah, you got the opposite problem. I've got all women at home. You got all men at home. I see how. All right. Thank you for that. We will put all that in the show notes, but we're not done yet.
Okay.
I do what I call the lightning round here.
Okay.
So can go as long as you want, but it's usually like quick questions just to get to know Janine a little bit better. It's a fan favorite, so we got to do it with you too.
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
You're gonna kill it.
All right.
Favorite music or favorite group?
I guess Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I love Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac. They make me smile every time they come on.
All right, good. That's good. Our passion. We know you run. By the way, how far do you run when you usually run? How many miles are you going?
Oh, I probably do about 30 to 35 every week, but I hit a long run of about 10 miles on the weekend.
So you get, this is where you get all your podcast and your video stuff done, I would be guessing, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
So outside of running, any other passions outside of the workplace, things you do for fun?
You know, I love spending time with my family and kids. You know, I travel so much for work, and I work a lot, and I truly, like, it's Friday, and I truly just look forward to tonight, just hanging out with my 2 boys and my husband, simple dinner, and just being with them. Like, that's what I really enjoy.
You got it. Outside of your family, what are you most proud of? I think I know what the answer would be.
Outside of my family, what am I? Yeah, because I guess my number one pride and joy are my boys. I guess
Sure.
I'm proud to be. Yeah, honestly, I'm just proud of the team that I'm with and the work that I do, and I'm just so blessed and grateful for all of this support. I think that's probably what I'm most proud of what we're doing as a company and what we're doing, you know, as a team. That's what drives me and motivates me.
The Grow Group, you should be very proud of that too. I think it's true.
I am. I'm very proud of Grow. Very proud of Grow.
The number one role model today that's not related to you.
The number one role model
Somebody you admire. Somebody you admire.
In a work context, I have to say it's probably Rob Thomas, and I say that because he's ridiculously honest and truthful to everybody, even if it's something you want to hear or don't want to hear. I really admire how he's taken the data and AI business and just completely transformed it. I mean, I've seen this journey for the past 2.5 years, and I think it's phenomenal for where we've come and how far we've come as an organization. It's very, very, very impressive. And it's from a leadership style, being able to pull so many people together to make it happen and create that movement. I think it's very, very powerful.
Well, if we keep the podcast in order, we had him last week, so the listeners should have heard of Rob. So great. Hey, you say you have children. I know one of the questions that the listeners have is, how do you balance motherhood with all you're doing?
Yeah, I'm so happy you asked me that question, because I was actually having a debate in Grow about this, because there was a woman that, you know, said, why do we always ask about balance? And look, we have to talk about balance because it's real, especially if you have kids. And I'm probably going to say something. I'm going to tell you the truth, Al, because I want everybody to hear this and listen to it. You have to listen to yourself, and you have to listen to your body. I don't have a lot of balance, I'll be honest, but I had worst balance 2 years ago, to the point where I had a stroke. I was traveling a lot. Yeah, I was traveling a lot. I was on the road all the time. I wasn't hydrated. I was running a lot, and I was, you know, just kind of going, and I wasn't listening to myself. And when that happened, I was 38 years old, and I you kind of like, whoa, what just happened? Whoa, like that's not supposed to happen. And that changed my outlook on life, and just every day is a blessing. And so how I balance is I do the things that Janine wants to do. I take the roles that Janine wants to take. I say yes to the things I really want to do, and I say no to the things that I don't. So I'm very careful with my time. I'm, you know, very particular on, you know, who I want to be around and the projects that I work in, because that really changes a perspective and an outlook on life. So I balance through that experience, and it shouldn't take something like that to happen, but it changes your perspective, and it's just, you know, you gotta realize that work isn't everything, and there's got to be some sort of quote unquote balance and downtime that you take. And so, you know, I felt like I want to share that because it's true, and if it can help anybody out there, just pause, just pause, and you know, take more time for you.
Well, I'm glad you've come through and everything's healthy and it didn't have any long-standing effects. Look, no. I hear you, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. And there's a story of my own that happened late last year where I was sitting on a plane too long, got a blood clot, and thankfully I came through that. You know, it just came through. I didn't, you know, you don't expect to have something like that, and you go, boy, my back was hurting me, you go to the emergency room and they say, look, you need to your point, you need to take a pause. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. I'm with you. Right. I hear you. So I've got a similar story. We'll have to compare notes sometime.
Yeah, that's right. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, same with you. Same with you. So, advice for young ladies considering technology.
Go. Just go for it. Go for it. I mean, I can't stress that enough. You got to believe in you. Go for it and have confidence. There are so many doors that will open, avenues that will open, experiences that you will have, and you make the job what you want it to be. Never let anybody define you. You define you, and own it.
You got any differing advice for a young lady that's starting out in technology? In other words, they're already in there, but they're just early in their career?
Yes. Believe. Because I know that if there's anyone I don't care if it's men or women, you have doubts and I can't do it, or it's too hard, I'm going to give up. Just believe in you. You'll get through it. There are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. Find your voice, believe in you, and just go for it. Look yourself in the mirror. You got this.
Any advice for women in technology that are trying to advance their career? Is it similar to what you just provided, or is there anything different?
Yeah. It's a great question. Mentor. Find good mentors. Network. Do not underestimate the power of a network, both internal as well as external. And the third thing is take some risks. I mean, I've taken risks in some, jobs and roles and experiences that were really hard, and, a couple didn't pan out the way that I thought, but I learned from them, and there were experiences that I learned that were positive, as well as things that I learned that I say, okay, that's good, and I'll never do that again or this again. Take some risks.
Well, I had you're tying right into my next question. Have you had good mentors?
Yeah, I've had great mentors. I've had 3 mentors that have been with me for a very long time. One since 2003, another since 2005, and then another one since 2010. And those 3 have been with me for a very long time in this company. And then I've had other folks that have, kind of come and go because of just different parts of my, career changing or their career changing. And so we just kind of went our separate ways. But, yes, I've had very good mentors, and mentors that have told me the truth. I think that's what you want. You don't want somebody that's going to stroke your ego. You need people to tell you the truth on things that you really need to work on. And you need to swallow that. You need to go with it, and don't be offended by it, because then you won't grow. You won't kind of be the person that you're meant to become.
Expect radical candor and have a growth mindset to consume it and take it in.
That's exactly right.
So, what is the best leadership advice you've received then?
Interesting you say that. Take a vacation every 90 days. That's the best leadership advice I've ever gotten. And it may not be what people were expecting to hear, but one of the things that I've learned is recovery is just as important as your launch. You know this, Al, being in development, we kind of overwork getting to launch, and kind of over preparing and getting ready for the launch of a product or the client meeting. But recovery is just as important as all that work that went into it. And I think Tignum was the company that really helped me realize that. And there was a gentleman that worked in IBM named Matt Ellis. When I became an executive, he's the one that told me, take a vacation every 90 days because it'll start to wear on you if you don't.
Great. I wrote it down. Two more questions. I know you learn when you're running, but how do you learn? I mean, how do you, what's your process? You got a process.
Yeah, you know what? There's 2 things. So I'm hands-on, and I think that comes from my engineering background. In fact, I was just saying to my boss, I feel like every time we do a checkpoint, I'm like, I need to get in, I need to code it, and I need to build the models. I mean, even when I was learning AI, I did Andrew Ng's class that kicked my butt back in, statistics and coding. I did a Python course because I feel like I have to understand it to really lead it. So I like to be hands-on, and I like to try things, right? So that's kind of point number one. Point number two, when my bosses say compound reading. So since October, my goal has been to read 2 books a month, and so far I'm on that path. So that's how I've been learning. The books are more about leadership books, but I do the hands-on stuff technically on things. On Coursera, for example, is where I do a lot of my technical training.
Great. And by the way, it's interesting, we have the same goal there. I've got 2 books a month. So far I'm on path, so you're going to be my accountability partner. We're going to check in with each other, make sure we're on to it.
All right.
Last question, what's next for you?
You know, it's funny you say that. So some advice I've been given, and I've really been trying to live by this, is that the best job that you're in is the best job that you have is the job that you're in right now. And so I try not to look for the next thing. I try to kill it in the role that I'm in so that that next best thing is coming. So the next thing for me is the weekend, I guess. Saturday.
That's fantastic. I like it. Janine, sincerely, you are inspirational, and I'm so glad we had you on, and you gave us some of your time. I appreciate it. I think this is fantastic. I learned a lot from you today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate it.
All right. For all the folks, we will put all the information in the show notes on how you can reach Janine. But until next time, I'll see you, I guess, on the internet. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Making Data Simple podcast, where we make data fun. Be sure to visit IBMBigDataHub.com/podcasts to access the show notes and uncover even more great episodes. Remember, the views expressed here are those of the host and its guests, and do not necessarily represent the views of IBM. Until next time, over and out.